So when we call a school or organization to talk to them about their photo day, one of the most common things we hear from them is, we already have a parent who takes our photos. Now, it seems like this kind of feels like the easy choice to do. The parent is already involved in the group, maybe they're volunteering their time, and it seems pretty simple, and it might actually save the organization some money. But what many organizations don't realize is that there are risks tied to relying on parent photographers. These risks can affect privacy, they can affect safety, quality, and even the organization's reputation. So the purpose of this video is to help organizations like yours see these risks and to show them how photography studios like All Star Youth Photography is built to help solve these problems with professional, safe, and reliable services. So let's talk about the first idea about using a parent photographer versus using a professional studio photographer. This is concerning privacy and permissions. One of the biggest things today is the privacy of children. Now, a parent photographer may not have the ability to keep private all of the information that is needed from the organization to take the photos and to track the students. So you have to think about what kind of information are they going to get. Are they going to get names, addresses, emails, phone numbers, all this kind of stuff? Are they going to be using some sort of facial recognition technology? How are they going to keep these kids' information private? Sometimes, due to religious reasons and other reasons, a parent may not want their child photographed. How are they going to keep track of all of that information as well? So there is a concern with privacy and getting permission from the parents to make sure all the kids are treated fairly and their information is safe. Now, here at All Star Youth Photography, every child's photo that we take, the information is uploaded online to a software system. This system is encrypted. The information is not sold. It is not shared with any other type of organization. It is only used to connect All Star Youth Photography with the parent about their kids' photos. So it is secure. We have a secure private gallery. When we do a QR code with a kid, that typical QR code will be tied to that one particular person, and the parents will only see the photos that their child is in. And we also have ways of keeping track of people who may want to opt out of having their photos taken. So that is the first thing you should ask a parent photographer is, how do you protect our information? How do you protect the kids' information before you hand it over to that parent? My next point is on youth safety and background checks. So if you're hiring a parent to do your photos, you'll need to find out if they're going to be using any assistance or any extra help. Maybe to register the kids or to check the kids in or to line them up. You might know the parent well, and this is often the case. All the parents are very friendly, but most organizations require that a background check is done on all the people who are helping out. That has to include the parent photographer. Now, you may know them and you know their background, but if for any reason a legal thing comes up and there needs to be a background check on everyone, so you need to make sure that the parent themselves has a background check and that any of the assistants that they're using are also a background check. Here at All Star Youth Photography, we do a background check on all the people who help us out, and we do train them to, interact with the kids, but in a safe way. We also go through something that is known as a safe sport training. And this is something that's becoming more and more popular. So it's just a way of training the staff and letting them be aware just of their surroundings, and if they can realize that a child might be being abused or sexually trafficked, that they do have the ability to notice that and maybe bring that up to somebody at the organization to let them handle the situation. My next point is on insurance and liability. Then there's insurance. There's always something about insurance in our lives. So what happens If a child trips over a light stand, or if one of our pop-up tents happens to get caught in the wind and it blows away. You know, most schools and leagues require photographers or any of their vendors to carry liability insurance. And parents usually don't have the liability insurance. So you'll need to ask the parent photographer up front, we need a copy of your liability insurance. And you can also ask that parent to add the organization on as an additionally insured organization so that whatever happens, you're also covered. So at St. Jean Creative Photography and All-Star Youth Photography, we carry full coverage, and we provide certification naming your organization as additionally insured, so you're protected no matter what happens. Data security, let's talk about that. Parents, they come in, they do the picture, they've got all these kids' names, we don't know where they end up in the parent's house, or is it on a hard drive? Is it accessible by anybody that they live with? You know, oftentimes the parents just put every photo they take into one big album, and this exposes all the photos to everybody who can see them. So you're not just seeing your particular kid's photos, you're seeing everybody's photos, and anybody could buy that photo. When we work with a group, we get a list, a roster of the players and what teams are on and what levels and what divisions. And all this information gets loaded into our software, which we partner with the company who is also the company that does our prints and mails them to you. So the information goes up online, we take the pictures, those pictures are attached to a particular kid, and then when the parents order online, the lab gets that order directly and they get printed within about 48 hours, and then they're mailed out as soon as possible. All the information we upload is not sold, it is not used, it is only used to communicate with the parents from either the lab or from All-Star Youth Photography about photos and photo offerings and maybe photo events and things such as that. We use secure, password-protected galleries. You will only see your child's pictures in those galleries. We offer safe online ordering. Everything is safe to do online. It is encrypted, so it's great. And this way the parents get easy convenience and the organization gets a peace of mind that the information that they're giving us is not being shared with anybody else. Now let's talk about quality and reliability. Now let's talk quality here. Taking a few photos of one kid is very different than photographing hundreds and hundreds of kids in a single day. So without the right professional equipment, backup gear, and a great workflow that keeps everything moving, the results can be all over the place. It can be crazy and nutso. Also, the reliability of the quality of your photo. So you may have one kid who's perfectly lit, and the next kid is a little darker, and then the next kid is a little brighter. So that is from the lack of using a workflow that works for the photos and not knowing how to properly light for the photos as well. Now, when we come out to a photo session, we bring professional lighting, we bring the lights, we bring the tents, we bring anything that we need. We bring multiple cameras, so in case the camera happens to break down, we have a backup. And my team is trained so that every child looks their best. They know the proper settings for the camera, they know the proper lighting for the scene. So this way we can make sure that the picture day runs as smoothly as it possibly can. On the reliability side, this kind of goes into having the photos ready for delivery, missed orders. So there's a lot of preparation that goes into this. But how reliable is the photographer in getting the pictures back to the leagues and to the parents and to the organization? Does it take them just a week? Does it take them 2 months? I've had stories of parents never giving the photos or showing the parents the photos. So there has to be a reliability in the parent photographer to make sure that their photos are delivered. Now at All-Star Youth Photography, our online system takes care of that. We take the photos of the kids, We come back to the studio, we go through all the photos, make sure they look great, make sure the lighting and the colors are all the same in every photo, and then those photos get loaded up online. It can take, about, depending on the number of photos, it can take up to 24 hours to get all those photos online. But once they're online and we click go, the parents get an email right away. So we do not deliver any prints to the organization or to the parents. All that is done through the online ordering system. So once the parents make an order, the order gets printed and it's shipped out to the parents' house directly. Let's talk about delivery delays and missed orders. Now, this is always a fun one. It's inevitable that an order is going to get delayed, or there's going to be a misorder, or the post office just doesn't deliver it. That's happened a couple of times. So with a parent photographer, they may not have the system in place to just be able to go online, find the picture, resend that order out. Or if there's something wrong with a picture and the parent wants something to be edited, we can go right in online and take care of that in a few seconds. Oftentimes, the parent photographer can take up to a couple of months to get the photos back or the proofs back. And sometimes the images may get lost, so they just may never show up at all. Families and parents end up frustrated, and the organization, you're going to get a lot of phone calls and you're going to get a lot of blame as to why this is happening. Now, with our system here at All Star Youth Photography, like I've said, once the pictures are done with the edit process, we upload them and they get processed through the software and go straight to the lab for printing, and then they get mailed out. So oftentimes, we've had deliveries as quick as 5 or 6 days, or sometimes it can take up to 2 to 3 weeks. It really depends on the size of the league to getting the photos uploaded and online. But if there's ever a problem with an order, you didn't receive it, they can call us directly and we will make sure that that order gets out and sent to them as soon as possible. So the next point is talking about conflict of interest and fairness. Now, conflict of interest should be pretty straightforward with a parent photographer. You're asking a parent to take pictures. Maybe they're doing it for free. Maybe they're charging money. That depends on the league or the organization. But having a parent who is paying to have their child involved in a certain group or organization, and then all of a sudden that parent wants something back in return. Maybe they want free uniforms or something like that. This creates a true and real conflict of interest. So not having the parent photographer take the photos removes a conflict of interest for the organization. And conflicts of interest will lead to a lot of stress and a lot of strife between parents and the board of directors. And there's also the issue of fairness. And I have seen this with parent photographers, where the parent is taking pictures and then all of a sudden the board of directors is getting a lot of complaints. Oh, well, the photographer spent more time with this person's kid versus my kid, or this person's kid's photos look better, or they did an extra pose versus my kid, or that family got more pictures. Now, this can cause a lot of stress and a lot of tension between parents. Using a photographer like All Star Youth Photography, we are a neutral professional partner to your organization. We treat every child as an all-star. Everyone gets the same level of service of care and quality. All the kids get the same poses, they all get to be in the group shot, so we don't give one kid more than another kid. And that's very important. We want to make sure all the kids are photographed because we don't want anyone to feel left out. We want to make sure that even if the parent has no intention of buying a picture at all, that kid was in the line and they got their picture taken and they're part of that team. They want to be in that team photo. So we just want to make sure that every kid gets treated fairly. Now, this point is more on the legal side versus the actual photography side. And it's called taxes and licensing. And in Florida, printed photograph sales, sometimes digitals, depending on the package that you buy, they are taxable. All-Star Youth Photography has a tax license with the state of Florida. We collect a sales tax on purchases. Oftentimes, a parent photographer doesn't have a tax license. So if your parent photographer is intending on actually selling the photos, you need to make sure that they have a tax license so that they're paying the sales tax on any photos that they sell. You got to make sure that they're handling their taxes correctly. Or sometimes the organization can actually be held liable if the parent photographer is not collecting sales taxes. Since they're a parent and they're a member of the organization and they're the official photographer for the organization, that makes the organization liable for the sales tax of the photos. So you've got to make sure that the parent is collecting the sales tax and paying the sales tax every quarter. Also, make sure that the parent has a business license in the city or county in which you're operating. If you're taking pictures and selling them for money, you are operating a business, and the city or county requires an actual business license to run a business and take money. So, and then one thing that's not necessarily required, but just checking, are they incorporated as an LLC or a corporation, or are they doing a DBA or doing business as? This just helps the credibility of the company that you're, or the parent that you're going to be using. Now, All-Star Youth Photography, we are licensed in Florida. We have a business license in the city of St. Petersburg. We have a sales tax license. We collect sales taxes on all photo sales that is done through the online platform. We take care of all the taxes and business requirements so you don't have to worry about. Now at All-Star Youth Photography, we are a licensed Florida business. We have a business license in the city of St. Petersburg, Florida, and we have a sales tax license with the state of Florida. We take care of all of our tax and business requirements so you don't have to worry about that. To wrap up the video, hiring a parent to an organization might feel easy and it solves a problem, but often easy turns into risk. A risk to the privacy, to the safety, insurance-wise, quality, delivery. All of it can create problems for your organization. At All-Star Youth Photography, we've built our services to solve every one of those issues, so Picture Day is safe, smooth, and stress-free. Because in our mission here at All-Star Youth Photography, at the end of the day, every kid is an all-star and they all deserve to be photographed as one.